Boom. All right, chat. What's the word? What's the word? What's the word? Let me check the stream. This is my first time doing this live stream stuff, so bear with me. Let's see. Okay, boom. I just got a notification. Boom. All right, bet. We live, baby. Boom. All right, bet. So the chat working and all that. Boom. All right, let's do it, people, man. I'm reacting to a panel discussion, as you can see. You know what I'm saying? It's panel discussion. And they saying lying to women gets results. Now, mind you, I have not watched this video prior. This is, you know what I'm saying, my first time doing it. My first time looking at it. So this shit is live, uncut, unfiltered. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna do this shit together, you heard? So let's get into it.
If we delete somebody, if we go through a red light, there's controls mechanism that make us suffer.
No, we control ourselves because we form the government. So then,
so the government doesn't have mechanism.
We chose the government, then we chose the people to control us, right?
So if you miss some child support payments and the government decides to put you in the jail for a week, and is that the mechanism of control to make sure that you pay the child support?
Yes.
No, but Fatty, he made a good point. Hold on, Fatty. He made a good point to your argument. He said the government doesn't control us. We formed the government, and this is what we wanted, right?
We didn't form shit
to control us, right? So in the marriage, wouldn't it be the same exact way?
Mm-hmm.
She picked you as a man, or was supposed to anyway. But she picked you and said, this man I know is going to take care of me. I picked the right representative to represent my family. I know he's going to represent my family. He has me, right? And so if I think that about a politician, why wouldn't I think that way about the man I sleep with? And have
because if you flip this, and if a man came on here and said, man, I do everything my woman says. If she tells me to go left, I'm going left. I do whatever makes her happy. I'll do whatever she wants me to do. Most women would see that, oh, that's a good man. That's a real man.
True.
Nobody sees it's problematic if a man comes here and professes that he does whatever his woman wants. And Raphael, are you telling me if a man comes here and says, man, I do whatever my wife wants, she's in control of my life, do you think most women will be like, oh, that man's disgusting, or that's a real man? I know you may be disgusted, but would most women support that rhetoric, even if they wouldn't support the actual man? Would they support the rhetoric?
I hope not. I don't know the answer, but I hope
it's
not.
Yes.
Okay.
We ain't about to do that. They would 100% get behind that shit. 100%. We all know they would. You see it every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, which is why I believe, mind you, this is just my belief. Which is why I believe, you know what I mean, simp dudes actually exist. You know what I'm saying? Because there are women that will back their play. You know what I'm saying? But, y'all already know how that go. But if you just joining live, man, drop a comment, man. Get active with me. This is my first time doing this.
So that's okay. So we're not over pursuing. Hold on, Fatty. Hold on. Sisters, would most women support that rhetoric?
Yes.
Thinking about your next big move?
They better not lie.
Realtor.com's housing forecast has you covered.
No.
Yes.
Stop.
Hold on. Say that again. Say that.
If a man comes on here and says, man, I do whatever my woman wants. I do whatever to make her happy. Like I'm fine with my woman controlling and leading this relationship. Would most women in today modern time support that rhetoric? Rhetoric.
Oh, they would support the rhetoric, but they wouldn't like it.
Right.
Yeah,
but
they were still walking like a dog.
That's the point. Nobody, no man, no woman would push back on typically on that conversation.
No, they would support
in real life. If you go over people's house, and I know y'all do, most men just quiet. They don't say nothing. They're not going to say nothing that ruffles their woman's feathers or her friend's feathers. Men are afraid to talk in public. They want to make sure they don't say nothing wrong, and they're saying whatever makes their woman and the other women around her comfortable. And any man that's on this panel knows that's what typically happens out in settings. Men, whatever women's saying, they just sitting back chilling. Unless you go to another room where you can talk. Soon as the ladies start coming towards the room, everybody switches up and starts talking about what they like hearing. Like, let's keep it real about.
See, that's
what
not my experience, man.
Yeah,
but
I don't
that's
know
So,
about
so
all
you
that.
never went to so Raphael, you never went to a barber shop and saw the man talking, and then a woman comes in the room and everybody switch it up. You never saw that? Never.
I only go to mailbox.
Okay, hold on. Now that's what they talking about. I thought he talking about like if I'm at the crib and you know what I'm saying, I got people over here and I'm having a conversation and fuck no, man. We gonna talk about what we talking about. But like I have seen that, you know what I mean, like out in public, you feel what I'm saying, in a barbershop or some shit like that. I have seen men switch up their conversations when they lady come around. So I've seen it. I don't do it, but I've seen it.
Barbershops, women don't typically come in.
So women don't have kids. So women don't have kids that they take to male barber shops to actually do their hair. No.
I haven't seen that in years personally, but maybe they do.
And this is what we're talking about. This is not a conversation.
It is true.
This is
It
not
is
a conversation based on reality. You know why I'm not?
It's my reality.
It is
Like,
true because in my
you-
social circle.
You know why this is not a conversation about reality? Oldest game in the book. Woman use sex to get money and power, and men use power and money to get sex.
50% of households are low
Oldest game
income.
in the book. When your woman is denying you sex, for the most part, is a control mechanism so you can actually act the way that you want to act. Everybody knows about it. Everybody has these conversations. When a man, for example, is the sole provider of the family, he has a level of control because that woman doesn't have means that actually take care of by herself. So we know he's control too. Relationships is nothing but a control, like a power struggle between two people. And the best you can ask is for two people to actually be kind about it. I'm going to push you this way, and you are going to watch the Super Bowl with me, even though you don't like football. And I will watch Housewives of Atlanta with you, even though I don't like it, but I will do it anyway.
Makes
It's a
sense.
power struggle.
It's
But for
compromise.
whatever
It is a
reason,
power struggle, Fatty,
but for
but
whatever
eventually
reason,
it
all
doesn't
of
end
us-
well for her. That's the whole
What?
point. She's got the same consequences.
No, but that's what Ali's saying. Ali is saying this. Men are fine with being controlled by a woman, especially a woman that is grateful, a woman that loves you, a woman that rocks with you, a woman that pushes you. There's nothing more exciting to do something for a woman that actually is on your program. It's awesome. Hey, baby, you want to go
Love it.
shopping? Do you
True.
think did you guys saw the video that they was asking on Costco? Rate your experience coming to Costco with your wife from 0 to 10. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. and woman thought, oh my God, they ate woman. No, it means that I don't like to be here, but I still love you so much that I'm going to hold your bag while you're doing some useless shopping that you actually don't need. There's love. Love is not a negotiation between two equals. Love is sometimes you are going to have the final decision, which is most relationships is woman, to be honest. 90% of the things in the relationship is the woman that decides. And then there's going to be a very small percentage of decisions where the man has the final veto power, and the man can even say, I control and I have the final say, even though my woman does everything. Because if he does it, there's somebody that's coming out of the woodwork calling him monsters, said he shouldn't be like that. A woman, her body, her choice, all that. This is all.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. He talking. I ain't gonna lie. He's spitting. He's spitting. He is spitting. Now, granted, that's not my reality, but I'm not gonna pretend like I don't see the shit. You feel what I'm saying? Like you see it all the time. You feel what I'm saying? But it, for the most part, right? The way most relationships work, there is compromise both ways. That's the only way a relationship is gonna work. That's the only way the shit works. It has to be compromised both ways. It has to be. You know what I'm saying? Because if there's not, then you fall into that's a dictatorship, in my opinion. It's like whatever I say goes, whatever you say, I don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? So it has to be compromised both ways for the shit to be a happy and fucking healthy relationship. It has to be compromised both ways. And to echo his point when he said, most men don't have an issue doing things for a woman that shows appreciation, that he knows she loves him. He knows that she got her, like those are the women, they get the fucking world. You dig what I'm saying? The ones that are pleasant. Pardon me, the ones that are pleasant. You know what I'm saying? The ones that, you know what I'm saying, they don't ask for much. They get the fucking world. It's just how it is. You dig what I'm saying?
Bullshit. This is not reality at all. And go ask to this woman if they want a man that can exercise control over them They will say no when they're 20s, and they will beg for it when they are older and they have no way out. They'll say, I wish a man could come to my life to control out of the mess that I did. All of a sudden, we don't know what we're talking about. All of these women don't want to be controlled, don't want to be said what you do when they literally get wet every time a man says, hey, watch your mouth. Don't say that.
But Fatty, I think maybe Jonathan has a woman that is on his program, so he might not be in that mind frame. I don't think most men get to, because Jonathan looks relaxed to me.
He looks like a kept man, right?
He looks relaxed. Okay.
Hey, Mika, flip it. Don't flip it. He is on our program because there's respectfully, Jonathan. This is Mika. I got you right. This is not a shame. Most relationships are controlled by women because the day they decide they don't want to stay, they bounce. That's the reality. Most women are the ones decided if they leave or they stay. The best predicament for you to actually know if you're going to have a long-lasting relationship is not the man, is the woman. How much quality does that woman have? So Jonathan might have a wonderful woman, so he is very okay with considering everything that she wants to do. But for the most part, Jonathan, if you don't have the balls to put your foot down and says no, and everything has to be the conversation, respectfully, she's just trying to converse with you so she can change her mind and do what she wants.
I can say no all the time because there's consequences that are attached to my request.
Real quick. I
got to be able to respond, Ali.
Of course, but hold on. We have one person who hasn't spoken at all yet, and then you can get right back. I just want to hear it because then we go back in the open panel. He hadn't even spoken yet. Ask a brother. Are you seeing any consistencies? What sense can you make out of this matter, my brother? What do you see? And then my brother Jonathan, you could be the first to rebuttal him, and Raphael as well too.
And I'm sorry, Mika, for taking the microphone out of your hand. It was not on purpose.
If I could see the names of the people so I can make sure I address people properly, I would greatly appreciate it. Number one, thank you, Ali, and everybody for welcoming me in real quick.
My brother.
I'm super hungry, so I just came real quick because this was a really lively conversation. I just had a couple concerns when I was listening to this, and I was like, I'm seeing some fire people on the show. Smell of Roses, Pop, Culture Mika, and so many others. I appreciate y'all for sure. The gentlemen, Mr. Raphael and Jonathan, it looks like you both like coaches for relationships and
for men. Yes,
I've been a couples therapist for 10 years. So
okay. My main concern, based off of how I listened to your responses, was I think one of the concerns on my end that I've observed and noticed for quite a while sometime is as women have elevated their personal feelings more and more, they've lowered the value of the things that they agree to, like oath and commitment and marriage, right? So when you have a population that elevates their feelings too high, this is how we run into these situations where we're trying to talk about what men need to do different. And we kind of start to coddle women as if they're not adults making volitional decisions as well. So my initial concern is you gentlemen that are talking to men and to couples and Jonathan, I'm not doubting that you probably have some success. I'm assuming if you're doing it 10 years, you're doing something right. My concern is if the ladies that fixate and elevate too high just their personal emotions and their feelings, we get into these scenarios where they're putting men in unwinnable situations.
Facts.
My default setting when I'm talking to couples, when we do premarital counseling and we're working with couples, is I try to explain how dangerous his cheating is. And I don't think enough people in your positions, and I'm not saying this is what you guys are doing, but what I am suggesting is if you don't see his cheating as the equivalent of her being unfaithful, this explains why your responses have been what they have been to the panel. You don't see those as anything close to comparable or in pretty close territory.
Can you say that again?
Yeah. I view women who decide and intentionally choose to hold out for non-medical reasons as already being unfaithful. So women that choose to be unfaithful, you deserve, as a woman who's obligated this man to be monogamous with you in the court of law and before the church and all this other stuff and gave all these oaths, when you decide you want to cheat, when you decide you want to stay in a relationship and get all the benefits, but you also don't want to hold up your end of the bargain, you've already broken the vows. You're functionally not a wife anymore. You are already unfaithful, and you've been unfaithful, and it's usually the man's not complaining after a week. So if you've been unfaithful for that long, These are your options of what you actually deserve. If you're putting a man in a position when you're not willing to work on this stuff, fix it, you're supposed to end the relationship. If you're choosing to stay and still hold out, you're being unfaithful and putting him in an unfair position.
Damn. Hey. That brother spitting. You hear me? that nigga spitting. You heard? Like, let's just call it what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, when a woman is abstaining from her husband, it's crazy. In my opinion, this is just my opinion. I can't speak for the world. I can only speak for myself. When you abstain something from your spouse that they need, you know what I'm saying? You can't be pissed off if they go get that shit from somewhere else. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. You can't get upset when they go somewhere else and go get it. You feel what I'm saying? Like, if a man is keeping money away from his spouse, right? You can't get pissed off at her from going to get the shit from somewhere else. Especially if you made her a stay-at-home wife. And you like, oh nah, I'm keeping my money, I ain't giving you nothing. She go get that shit from somebody else, brother. That's on you. You know what I'm saying? Same rule applies.
So now a man has to decide, stay in a sexless marriage and relationship with somebody who clearly doesn't like me, or risk losing access, or at least half of the time, access to my kids.
Right.
That's how deceptive and disgusting this actual behavior is. If we treated it as such, then wouldn't the appropriate responses be, yes, either you are to divorce her or he is to cheat privately and respectfully, and you don't need to ask about it. Mm-hmm. That's actually, if he has to choose between losing access to his kids or staying in a sexless marriage and relationship, the only other alternative, naturally, if he doesn't want to lose access to his kids with a woman who's choosing to do this, is to cheat on the side.
Mm-hmm. That's verbatim what I said earlier, by the way.
Okay, so that's the position you gave. That's the positions that you're putting your partner in.
I don't disagree at all.
So my concern, and Raphael, I came in late, so I didn't hear a lot of what you had to say in regards to this topic. My concern is, if the conversation is always talking about what men need to do different and men need to approach different, I have no problem holding men accountable. My stance and lens is, if you can't reference and tell a woman, hey, if you keep holding out, you're going to get cheated on.
Facts.
Or you're going to lose access to your kids half the time. That's how serious it needs to be. And when Ali and other people are saying this, some of this stuff, Jonathan, I just kind of sense like, man, you're kind of raising the bar in terms of how men need to try to fix and resolve this. And there's a whole other half of this equation. And my concern, man, is like, listen, I'm not saying that you're not loving, that you don't have care for men and you don't have care for women. My only concern is, if you view this the way I view it, my lens would be a little bit more, I'll phrase it this way. If men got divorced as often as women held out, 10% of women would still be married. So regardless of what the options are of how you think men should proceed, there's clearly something about elevating our feelings too high above our oath, above our commitment, above the things that we promised before God and our community and our family, where you think that this is an optional process. I'm a married man, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't walk around like a dictator. I'm an alpha man. I don't do none of that shit. All this red pill stuff is cool for social media. My wife knows the clock is ticking after 2 to 3 weeks.
Honestly, no one wants to think about HIV, but there are things that everyone
2
can
to
do
3
to help
weeks is
prevent
crazy.
You ain't gotta ask. You ain't gotta wonder. You ain't gotta none. The clock is ticking after 2 to 3 weeks. Ain't no way I worked this hard to be in a position where you're going to weaponize sex over me. We don't have to have a discussion. I mean, we don't have to have an argument. I can leave or I can stay and I can do what I want.
Right.
But you don't get to pick and choose when you want to show up as a wife and then try to hold me accountable that I still got to do my end of the bargain. That's all that I'm concerned about. I'm not.
And that's a good point too. That's a good point. Because especially if a man is taking care of everything financially in the household, how do we, and I don't want to use it, I guess I'm going to have to use this word because I can't really think of another word to, you know what I'm saying, substitute it with. But how are you supposed to punish that to correct it? You know what I'm saying? Because the only way to correct something is to implement a punishment, right? So I can't just fucking not pay the mortgage this month. I can't, you know what I'm saying? Like I can't, there's nothing that a man can do in that regard to kind of correct the behavior other than address it. Like, yo, look, you holding out, yada, yada, yada. I'm gonna fuck around and go do something. You feel like that's the only way. But even in that, even in that regard, if she want to test your gangster, like, all right, motherfucker, go do it then. I mean, there's really nothing that there's no. I don't believe there's an equivalent on a man's side. You feel what I'm saying? Because, like I said, you can't just stop paying bills because then you fuck around, you end up homeless. Cars start getting repossessed and all of that type of shit. So it's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. You know what I'm saying?
Saying that is justified, but I'm saying that's actually a very normal reaction when the leverage is I lose access to my child. If I can lose access to my child because of something you're doing,
it's crazy.
And my options are stay and be in a sexless marriage and relationship for the next 10, 20 years of my life, I'd rather stay in the house with my child and get the pussy you ain't giving. And you can stay in your lane and do what you got to do on the side if you see fit. But this idea that oh, I would never lie, I would never this. Well, I thank God that you haven't been put in a position to be in a relationship with a woman like that. I have with a previous relationship. So I know what it's like to show up, do everything. And the countless men that I've talked to that have done this for 10, 15 years, they're in relationships with people that's only thought about themselves. They've elevated their feelings above the kids, above the marriage, above the oath and the commitment. And then when he does cheat, some of the worst people in relationships were the people who didn't cheat. It's the person often that didn't cheat that gets to run around with the narrative that the reason why the marriage ended is because somebody cheated. Not because of the sexual manipulation, not because of the weaponization of the children, not because of the lies and the gossip and all this other crazy bullshit that a lot of ladies end up doing. I just think that it's disgusting that if we viewed men cheating anything close to women withholding sex, that they're demanding monogamy from the other man, I think that we would have a much better, more balanced approach when we're talking about what's wrong from both sides. I was sensing and I'm listening and I'm hearing a lot of what men need to do different and not nearly enough of, well, maybe a lot of you ladies don't deserve a ring in the first place. So, Jonathan, if you want to respond, I have no problem with that. And just to clarify, there's men that will take their life because of this issue. So the reason why it's so serious to me is I can't stand when I'm listening to panels and listening to people where they talk 95% of the time about what men need to do different. Ladies, stop asking to get married if you get married and you decide this is how you want to behave. So, Jonathan, if you want to respond, I respectfully will listen to whatever it is you got to say, my brother.
You know, I love this conversation. We started out by, does a man have a right to tell a woman what to wear? Or can a man control what a woman wears? And now we're talking about whether a woman has a right to withhold sex or what the consequences should be. I do not hate anything that you said with respect to a marriage is essentially no longer a marriage when someone's withholding sex. I 100% agree with that.
It's basically a divorce.
It's a divorce, right? All I'm saying is that there are consequences attached to all of our individual decisions. So if she decides to withhold sex, I'm going to go to her before I cheat, before I leave, and I'm going to say, what's it going to take for you to get on board with being intimate and repairing this intimacy that we are meant to have, right? If she flat out refuses, there's consequences attached to that.
Imagine what would happen if people changed the way their world sounded.
How do we?
And would you agree that one of those consequences, if it's not divorce, is I'm going to get what I can get on the side?
I agree that some men do that. It's not what I do.
I'm just saying and I want ladies to understand.
I would 100%
that. I'm not saying
I would understand it.
And like Fatty said it earlier, there's a difference between saying what's more likely to happen versus what's right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's moral or it's right for a man to cheat. I am saying that's absolutely on the table if you try to stay in a relationship and demand monogamy with a man and not offer sex. That is absolutely on the table. So this whole back and forth discussion of, well, we need to talk about, we're not having sex. So by default, we need to fix it. And both parties know that. So when the ladies hold the cards and you know we need to work on this and you're not choosing to work on it, you've already made the decision for us. There's no begging. There's no pleading. You already know what he needs to do. And either you think he can or can't do it. So when you choose to stay, it doesn't matter about the conversation at that point, because at that point, either he can or can't live up to it, and you've already made a decision that you just don't want to give it.
Yeah, but I don't want to be a man that has,
you put him in an unwinnable situation.
Where I'm coming from, though, is if I'm a man that has a broken marriage, I don't want to then become a broken man by cheating on my wife. I made a vow in front of God.
Wait. What the fuck he just say?
And so by cheating on my, if I'm a man that has a broken marriage, I don't want to then become a broken man by cheating on my wife. I made a vow in front of God. And so I say, I will extend you the description of what the consequences are going to look like, but that's not going to force me to cheat.
Yeah. So, and I'm not even saying
I would take and arguably if we are roommates now and we're no longer, in a marriage, well, then the consequences unfortunately are going to be that I leave and I will only see my kids half the time. And I suffered that 4 times over from both my parents twice over. And it's dreadful and it's terrible. Yeah. But it's not going to force me to cheat. But I absolutely believe that the C word that we need to be talking about is consequences, not control.
Yeah.
There are consequences when it's 2-3 weeks and you show me no intimacy, no affection. We're having a conversation. We're having a long conversation and one that's going to bring you to the table. And if you refuse to come to the table, then I guess I got to go eat somewhere. I'm not going to cheat on you before I do that, though.
And listen,
I don't hate what you said. I just would do it differently. And I'm
a lot of men
happy
would.
to hang on. I just want to say
That's fair, I guess.
I'm just as happy to throw women under the bus as I am men under the bus.
Oh, okay. Because
100%.
Again, I came in late.
I'll call a man to a higher standard, and I'll call a woman right after him or right beside him, because women should show up just as much as men should. No one gets a free pass. No one gets a free ride. And if she thinks she's going to go out and dress this way and act a certain way, and that's going to be consequence free, I'd love to have my wife on here. Yes, my wife is on my program, but I'm on her program. We're on each other's program. And arguably, even Fatty is on a woman's program in the honeymoon phase, and she's on his program in the honeymoon phase. The question is not, why aren't you? It's the question that we should be asking is, how did I fuck it up so bad that you're not on my program anymore? Right? We need to turn the lens on ourselves. And if Fatty were to ask himself that question a little bit more, maybe his woman would be on his program and he'd be on her program, and then they would live happily ever after.
Yes,
that's all I'm saying.
I ain't gonna hold you. That shit makes sense. It makes sense. What did I say before? The only way it's going to be a healthy relationship, it has to be compromised on both ends. I mean, so the shit makes sense.
She's not on my program because of men like you. Because y'all condition woman, because y'all men of your generation and above condition these women to think that even though you're not bigger than me, even though you're not more emotional stable than me, even though if you can you condition women to look at us as equals. And then when I want to put my foot down and says, come to my program, no, because I heard somebody on YouTube named Jonathan, and he told me that I'm on his program and you are on my program. This is what we call sabotage. The gender war is man against man, not man against woman. Is man against other man that do the dirty bits of woman. And you know what's funny, Jonathan? Hey, y'all are way more accomplished than me. All of the men on the upper panel and CEO are way more accomplished than me. Y'all deal with the average man. They book consultations with y'all probably every day, 2-3 times a day. You know what's funny? I think I actually know more about the average man than you, because if you thought that denying sex is the end of marriage, 90% of men will actually be single at this point or divorced, because most men in any point of the relationship are going to get on a place where a woman doesn't want to have sex with them. And if I was doing the same thing that you were telling me to do, I would lose my family, I'll lose my kids, I'll lose probably the place where I live, and I'll lose all these things that actually make marriage such a nice thing. So
Fatty, if you're on a losing streak in Vegas, why are you then going to bet?
If you are going to do these type of prescriptions to the average man, if she denies you sex, talk with her, and she doesn't do nothing, leave, you are sending 90% of average men either 1 year, 1 month, in 10 years, you are going to send them out for the streets because that's what's happening to most men in any point of the relationship.
Jonathan, real quick, because I'm about to leave. Hey,
I gotta respond. I gotta respond before
Jonathan,
you
I
leave.
appreciate your feedback, and I appreciate learning more about you and knowing that, oh yeah, you hold men and women accountable.
100%.
I appreciate that for sure. The caveat, not even a caveat, the short response that I would just kind of toss in there is there is a worldview.
When you've got a classic ride,
these
you
damn
need tools
ads,
you
man.
trust. Whether you drive it every day,
Where a man staying in sexless marriage and cheating is better than seeing his kids 50% of the time. Like, and I'm not saying that's your
That's gonna be
worldview.
his own.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I would never pass judgment.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have to say I don't judge. Like what
There's
a man,
just
if a
people
man
that's
has
in
to
those
do that,
situations.
yeah,
There's people in
I'm-
those situations, and for me to, I'll tell him what the pros and cons of it will be. I'll say what the risk factors are. But the idea that there's men that, well, just see your kids twice a week now, or see your kids on weekends. If that's the choice, cheating's better. Cheating's
Agreed.
better.
Agreed.
And if that's the choice he's been, I don't want to say forced because you mentioned that no one forces you to do it. But if that's the position you've been
is probably
placed,
a good word.
push, manipulated, whatever it is, if that's the option, the cards that you've been dealt, the first thing I'm going to challenge him on is, has she shown these traits before you gave her a ring? Did she show these traits and signs that she'll withhold and weaponize certain things against you? Because I'm going to put it more on him for putting himself in a situation in the first place.
Right.
But once he's in it and he has kids involved, if a man has to choose between seeing his kids every other weekend or only during the summer and all this other bullshit and getting sex on the side because she's not offering it, it is what it is.
I just have to respond real quick, and then I do need to leave. But I agree with a lot of what Jonathan said. I do coach men, but the thing I coach men on is that the only thing you can actually control, if we go back to the C word, are your own actions. That's the only thing you have control of.
Thanks.
So if a woman is not giving you sex, the only thing you can do is try to have the conversation, put out the consequences to say, this is what it is. We're either going to have an open relationship, we're going to get divorced, or I'm going to cheat and you're not going to know it. Like those are the three things that, but I think what I try to teach men is you need to have the self-respect to know that discernment and then the communication skills to be able to navigate a long-term relationship. That's all I want to tell men to do is like, that's all you have control of is you can, tell someone your intentions. You can be assertive of what you're going after, what you want, and the consequences are the consequences. But I try to encourage men to lift themselves up because that's the only thing they can do. You can complain about women not putting out until you're blue in the face. That's not going to make them put out.
No, but
Hey, he talking some shit too, if you ask me. But hey, man, listen. At the end of the day, man. He is 100% right. You cannot control a woman in that regard. If she don't want to give it up, she don't want to give it up. You know what I'm saying? But what you can do, bring it to the table. Like, listen, fam. It's been some time now, and this is what's about to happen. You dig what I'm saying? That's the only thing you can do at the end of the day, because you can't force her. You feel what I'm saying? That's crazy. But if y'all want to go check out the rest of this video, the link is in the description. You already know. Go check that out. Follow me on socials. You know what I'm saying? My Instagram, my TikTok, my Facebook, all of that shit is down there, man. And I catch you on either the next live stream, and I upload daily, so another video will be out tomorrow. Catch you on the next one. Bow.